Welcome to another insightful episode of the Business Roundup with me, your host, Wadulo Mark Arnold. Some of the big stories tonight include motor third-party insurance goes digital, the relevance of ICT adoption and utilization amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, and Huawei wars on the international scene. For our esteemed and loyal viewers, we have introduced a new segment, the Roundup Discussion, where we host in-house journalists to discuss trending topical issues. We look forward to your feedback because it's what makes us better. Without further ado, it's time for business. Uganda seeks to leverage the benefits of the fourth industrial revolution by promoting the growth of ICTs in the country. The biggest beneficiaries are financial technologies, which continue to lead the way in easing the provision of services and electronic payments.
The financial technology industry and emerging ICT-enabled sectors has potential to transform lives and the economy. Fintech adoption and utilization has in the last decade enabled financial inclusion for the unbanked and women, says Ronald Azaire, the managing director, Pegasus Technologies.
At the very core of a fintech is the ability to digitize payments and to also digitize things that were previously manual. So what this does for us is it allows us to operate. We've been forced, in a sense, to infuse digitization in the operations of very many organizations. But there are also many other opportunities that has come with this. We have a very young population that has grown up and is very literate, that has access to mobile technologies, that has access to internet now, and many of the services of these fintechs can be accessed by these people.
Providers of digital financial services are urged to utilize the available opportunities and produce more revolutionary homegrown products so as to eliminate the dependence of foreign open source software and applications. Local content in the ICT sector topped the agenda of the discussions at the concluding day of the 40 Days 40 Fintechs event in Kampala.
Why can't Ugandans build their own operating system? Why are we using Ubuntu? Why are we using Microsoft? We've seen other institutions and other nations come up with their own things. And for me, I believe that given the right leadership, given the right platforms, given the right forums, Ugandans have the ability to do that. So my plea to the industry and to the leaders of the industry and to those that have that mandate, can we create a place and give the leadership that's necessary for Ugandans to come up with their own softwares, open source, that will be used in schools, indigenous to Uganda's problems, organically grown, something, for example, that will help teach our geography. Our geography is unique. Can we teach our own history using our own teaching platforms? Can we have an education system that uses some of these softwares? So
we are building an integration of government systems platform. So this means that for the fintechs, if they need to get information from any government entity, say URA or lands or NSSF, etc., they will be able to use this platform here to be able to get that information there securely. So the days of having to have KYC of 100 papers of sign here, sign there, sign there, won't be there anymore.
The automation of services by both government and the private sector continues to fuel the demand for digital financial services, as Innocent Kawoya, the CEO High People, elaborates.
We've been able to share amazing information, and I'm sure they're able to carry these principles and create world standard interoperable solutions that we hope impact millions of lives.
The High People 40 Days 40 Fintechs Conference and Exhibition at the Sheraton Hotel Kampala sought to nurture, market and empower fintech companies and software developers for a future of unlimited business opportunities. Dennis Igoa for UBC News in Kampala.
Relatedly, a digital payment platform for motor third-party insurance is now available for motorists. The innovation unveiled by the Insurance Regulatory Authority and the partners is aimed at reducing fraud and generating more revenue for the industry and the economy in general.
The digitalized motor third-party insurance payment is to ensure motorists easily and conveniently buy insurance for their vehicles.
1st July 2020, the payment of motor third-party insurance has now been digitalized using the mobile payment platform which we are launching today. And motorists can easily and conveniently buy insurance for their vehicles or motorcycles via their mobile phones.
The prevalence of fraud in the motor third-party insurance certificates warranted this emergency response.
Some of these culprits, with the funny documents, you go to Nasankuruma, you can get a forgery of any case. So now, since things are now digitalized, I think it will be very, very hard for an expert in forgeries. Those who have excelled, I know them. The Baganda call them Abagezi Kampala. Request that at least to, and I've been advocating for this, I don't know why insurance you are not coming out properly. Try to support police also by looking for gadgets. Those gadgets which can help the officers to enforce. And
during the unveiling event, the Insurance Regulatory Authority CEO Haji Ibrahim Kadunabi said the compensations and claims handling require efficiency, timely response to benefit insurance policy owners.
It was informed by the need to fight the insurance fraud in this class of business that was characterized by issuance of fake motor third-party insurance certificates to unsuspecting public, which left them exposed. As a result, there has been a general public outcry about the insurance companies not being able to compensate the victims of motor accidents.
The Ministry of Works and Transport is undertaking the process of transferring vehicle records from manual to digital.
We are now trying to first create that digital database for all vehicle records, and the process is ongoing. The ministry will, in the end, actually gazette those old green books.
At the moment, motor third-party payments will be made using mobile money platforms, with banks expected to come on board. Abdul Nasir Lubama, UBC News.
Poor coordination and laxity to implement the standard operating procedures by some arcade owners is impeding their reopening. This was disclosed at a high-level meeting by government officials and the business community in Kampala. Of 84 recently inspected arcades in Kampala, 48 have so far passed all the SOPs and 36 have been mandated to install facilities that will warrant their reopening.
The Joint Technical Committee has met leadership of various trade associations in Kampala to report the implementation of standard operating procedures by arcades.
All authorization to open will be based on this joint report that we shall take to His Excellency the President, and is waiting for it. If actually you people had done the work very quickly, by now our report would have already gone to the President with the list of arcades that are, and we didn't want to take only 5 or 10 arcades.
Some arcade owners have been blamed for disrupting the process.
But the more we create confusion in the city, the more it proves that we are actually not ready to open. I was shocked that some of you attended this meeting, went back and caused the demonstration. That was uncalled for. We said we are going to focus on opening on the basis of SOPs. I was shocked to see people raising issues like rent at this time when we haven't even opened.
It's so funny, Honorable Minister, certain landlords, we put our airtime and call them after sending their SOPs on their WhatsApp. Some told us, why don't you start from Bwaise?
Only that we had some challenges with the technical team. It has been somehow a little bit reluctant. We would have covered more arcades, but we could wake up so early in the morning to join them, and you find that they start so late. And you find that if we had already handled this issue with urgency, most of the arcades would have already been inspected.
The Joint Technical Committee has resolved to pass a list of 48 arcades to the President that have passed all SOPs, with hope of reopening them this week. Wadulo Mark-Arnold, UBC News.
In this week's episode, we are introducing a new segment, the Roundup Discussion. Hot and trending business issues will be discussed by our own business reporters and various stakeholders. Now, the dilemma of reopening the Kampala arcades is the hot topic for tonight. Enjoy.
And good evening, Uganda. Welcome to Business Roundup Discussion, where we discuss the hottest business topics of the week and of the season. Now, in this particular season, we have the reopening of the arcades that are on the lips of most of the Ugandans. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Shadrach Shagaf Kisame, and of course, I am joined by business journalists Dennis, the beautiful Rowena, and Nasir. Now, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I just want us to discuss what you think. I'm going to start with you, Rowena. Okay. What do you think the SOPs that have been put in place, do you think are relevant? Because this is an issue of life and business. Okay. Do you think they have been, because in terms of the economy, do you think the SOPs that have been put are relevant? Because most of these arcades actually are not meeting them. Your take?
To begin with, thank you, Shadrach. To begin with, we shouldn't be in this place.
Yes.
We shouldn't be at a point where we're saying there should be well-placed exit and entrance. We shouldn't be in a place where we're talking about ventilation. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't be in a place where we're saying, well, we need a standard room that is set aside, you know, in case of handling certain businesses within. Because if you're saying we need a specific room where in case we got a COVID-19 patient, we shouldn't have waited for COVID-19 patient. Right. If anyone needed to go to someone in an arcade, where do you go? Right. You understand? Right. There's no office to go and say maybe this is the person managing the arcade, this is the person running businesses in the arcade. Think about hygiene and sanitation. These are not things we should be discussing because COVID has come. Right. If anything, for me, I feel like these are things. How then is KCCA? How has KCCA been approving these buildings? Mm-hmm. Just think about it.
It takes us actually back to square one. Exactly. When you are verifying this building for business, Dennis, now I'm going to bring you in. Yeah. When they were verifying these buildings, okay, let's say Mutasa Kafero, you're safe to run. Mm-hmm. What were they quantifying? What do you think?
I haven't gone into details to understand how it was done, but from the interaction and the stories that have also been filed on UBC TV, you realize that the business community is already complaining, and there are those ones who say that there is a possibility there was some strings that were pulled illegally. I don't want to put in an issue of corruption or that. Yes. But basically, you realize that arcades have been closed for quite some time. And,
4 months actually.
Yeah, 4 months, and I'm one person who feels sorry for these guys. I'm a business reporter. I do business almost every other day of my life. Right. And why they are really insisting that these arcades should be opened, I'm talking exactly about the business community. It's because honestly, the landlords they have landlords. Right. The landlords they owe landlords money, and it's a lot of money. Owning having a stall or a small shop in an arcade is not that cheap. Right. So you can imagine if you have not worked for 3-4 months, and you're supposed to pay rent. Right. So what are you going to do? You're not earning money. Remember, these are the same people who have children at home who are not going to school, so you're feeding them. So I think there is a dilemma all through, and something needs to be done urgently.
Absolutely. Now, before I bring in Nasir, actually you brought in figures, and I just want to just brainstorm about something. You see, now exports and imports, and of course arcades are the biggest consumers of imports, yeah? Yes. Exports and imports actually bring in around 47.8%. They contribute that to the GDP. What do you think 3 or 4 months before Nasir comes in, we have lost?
Basically, there are statistics that have been released by the IMF, the World Bank, especially even Bank of Uganda the other day. But we've lost. I wouldn't tell you how much, but I think we're now in billions of dollars. Right. Because if you look at what basically we're waiting for, maybe Uganda Revenue Authority to come out and also disclose to us how much have we imported, how much have we exported, and how much our earnings. But I'm sure our imports, let me say, in terms of exports, we've not gone above about 50%. What was our initial exports in the same time last year.
Right, and so that's deadly.
Yeah, that's deadly. We're in millions, of course. You know, we are a shilling country, but if you have to quantify, you have to now use the dollar.
But also now it's become more expensive, you know, to import in than it was in the past. first. Because, see, we are looking at risks here, we are looking at so many things. So when it gets expensive then, it's going to become expensive for this trader who's going to get engaged. And then it becomes expensive for them. That's when you hear some of them, while we are talking about arcades opening, there are others saying rent.
I know. And on that point, actually, is when I want to bring in Nasir. Now, government has said do not open. And others actually opening illegally. What do you have to say about it? It is illegally. What do you have to say? Because there's lives at stake here, according to government. Yes? Which is obvious.
Let's not quote. I think their lives.
That's it. What do you think? These guys are looking for Chikumi because these are people from the Muntua Wansi. And then there's life at stake. Your take.
So the moment you start with saying some people or some markets are opening illegally, there is a committee which doing inspection.
Right.
It made some arcades like 3 or 4. That even as per now, those arcades are operating.
They were actually closed later.
Some are operating now. If you go there down, like 3 or 4 operating. If you say these 3 are operating, and then the directive to close these arcades came from the president.
Right.
So, and then these 48, which were even put on list, they're pending to open. Now they're waiting for a word from the president. Then I come to ask, where do these arcades which are open operating now, where do they get the word from the president?
Exactly. So I'm right when I say illegal.
When you look to reality now, for us we are here, we are almost lamenting the reality now. If you are there, you are on lockdown.
Right.
Your shop is closed. Yet you see people are congested in Chikubu. You see some politicians are holding rallies or meetings. And then you are closed. What comes in your mind?
Yes, right.
That's how you get people who can get anger unexpectedly. People are killing themselves. People are defying police directly. People even are fighting police. If police can fire some live blades or rubber blades, people are also throwing stones to them.
Just not to sound politically blunt. Are we using this as a politics thing? Because what do you think, Rowena?
I, for one, would think there's people waiting. These are opportunities for some people.
To politic?
Yes, to politic. And this is not the time to politic.
Absolutely.
Because look at a situation like Nasir here said. People have been operating. We're not sure now if it was illegal or legal anymore, because we're thinking, hey, they were approved, about 5 of them. Then later, within the week, we saw that about 48 were approved, and then maybe 35 process ongoing. But here we are now thinking, what next? But away from those 5, some people have been backdoor working. They get in backdoor, and now it's online. Someone says, we deliver. You know, please order for your this and this online, we deliver. Now, these people will tell you even the arcade number, shop this, shop that, and people want the goods.
When a bottom line, people have to survive.
That is true.
People have to survive, and you know we cannot exhaust this in the last segment of the business roundup.
But there was something Nasir really wanted to say.
I can tell you something.
Yes.
People had trust in these guidelines.
Okay.
I can tell you this.
Yes.
Even those people, they closed their shops before even the directive.
Yes.
Why do you think they're coming now to open forcefully?
There are associations. There are associations. As we wind up, sorry, there are associations. Then we did talk about this. There are associations. Let's see. We also talked about this. There are associations now. For example, you saw how good thing is they withdrew. Yes, we saw how Kasita came out and sent out a letter, and people came out. That is when we saw that chaos of fighting with guns. But then they withdrew a little too late. How I wish we had these people with us. I'm sure we will. But they withdrew a little too late, and then they came and attended a meeting with all the stakeholders at the last minute. But people are out there. People are out there now saying, you know what, we need to open, which is true. We are suffering. People are suffering, and the economy is. It is being hit hard slowly. The impact, like when you of people who work on coal, then they get used. With time. You stop feeling these things, but it is going to hit us and hit us hard.
Right, now I want to wind up this by saying, Rowena, you were right. How did we get here? Now that's the question to everyone. How did we get here? Now that has been Business Roundup for this week. That's the discussion that we've had. I've been Shadra Shagaf Kisame, business journalist Dennis, the beautiful Rowena, and Nasir. Good night, good luck, adios for good and my country. God bless beautiful Uganda.
On the international scene, China says it will take all necessary measures to safeguard its interests after the United Kingdom announced a ban on Huawei's 5G network by the year 2027. Britain's move has been seen as controversial by some analysts. However, the move has been lauded by the Trump administration. We'll take a look.
The fallout from the Huawei decision is evolving at speed. The geopolitics is widespread with many players. Without all of that, Huawei's role in UK 5G might make perfect commercial sense.
The government's giving huge support to the industry and encouragement to roll out. And this is the reversal of that activity. And 5G is not like the previous generations. It's what the next industrial revolution is going to be built on. So, we feel that the competitive advantage that the UK had by releasing the spectrum early and early adopters will be lost by this announcement.
Huawei UK is 20 years old. Its technology and hardware has been part of the UK system for over 15. Huawei employs 1,600 workers in the UK, tens of thousands in Europe. Alongside its telecommunications role, Huawei is a major player in UK fibre broadband, and its phones and tablets now compete for a healthy market share on the high street. Appearing at an EU think tank webinar, China's UK ambassador said Chinese businesses won't need their government to tell them what to do next.
It's very disheartening. The way you treat Huawei will be followed very closely by other Chinese businesses. When the mutual trust was undermined, it'd be difficult for the businesses to have a confidence to have a more investment.
Will the golden era be upheld?
You don't need the government to say anything. I think the business, they can make their own conclusion.
Some suggest all this might point to a gradual cooling of commercial relations rather than a sudden separation.
I think that what that might mean in practice is essentially a slowdown of a particular flow that we've seen over the last few years and even decades, which is Chinese investment in various UK projects. HS2, which is a high-speed train project the government is very keen on, could be a good example of that.
Up till now, Huawei had big plans for the UK, as well as a $5 million research project with a London university. A new $1 billion R&D centre has been approved in Cambridge. And the company is still an integral part of the UK's other networks, 4G, 3G and 2G, crucial infrastructures on which the government has yet to rule. It's a lot of momentum to suddenly pull the brakes on. Andrew Wilson, CGTN, London.
In our assessment, we believe that the second half, it looks more attractive. For example, we're already seeing, Maurice was talking about private sector credit disappearing. We saw that actually by May, private sector credit extension had picked up already. So automatically means that May, going forward, we are seeing recovery. We are seeing already an improvement in terms of imports. So overall, the 6 months ahead, it is not as gloomy as I think IMF is indicating. The only thing that we agree with IMF is the travel, tourism, which is basically zero. So apart from all the other agricultural sector, locusts, where I know they are around, but we don't believe that locusts and floods are going to affect agriculture so much that you can have a 0.5 growth in the year. So overall, we believe that probably a growth of above 2 in 2020 is really reasonable in terms of what we have seen in the first 6 months of the year.
Have you ever been over the equator at Kayawe Trading Center along Kampala-Masaka Highway? It is a great place to stop for a while. Loads of local shops to buy souvenirs and, of course, plenty of options for food and drinks. And you can also crown it up with a memorable photo opportunity. It's definitely worth a stop, so check it out tonight in our Sounds of Business. see difficulty in every opportunity. On the other hand, optimists see opportunity in every difficulty. Words of the man Sir Winston Churchill. Thank you for being a part of the program. My name is Wadulo Mark Arnold. Catch us next time. Same place, same time. From the team and I, it's goodbye.